All right, everybody, welcome to FishGistics. We're here with Cameron and Pistol, and we're here at Baja HQ. What's happening, everybody? Cameron Steele, Pete Sohren, and our good buddy Fish, who's going for it with FishGistics. So he came up here to the Baja HQ, the headquarters where we'll build your truck for you, and he brought two guys that have been combative for at least a decade or so, even when we were partners. There was some friction.
We weren't always the best of friends when we were teammates.
And we're still not the best of friends, but I love Pete. But what we're doing today is we're bringing you a preview of the trophy truck class for the Score San Felipe 250, which of course is sponsored by Monster Energy and BF Goodrich Tires, as well as many other fine sponsors that Score has going on. First of all, I want to say kudos to Score for laying out an epic course. It looks like it's going to be pretty incredible. Pete, I know a lot of people talk about over the years, you know, San Felipe is so rough and it's short. You don't get the mileage for how much abuse you put on your vehicle. So it's kind of cool to see them putting more miles out there for the racers.
Yeah, they've had a little more than 250 a few times in the past, but never 3-something. I think we got 320 this year. And, yeah, it looks like an awesome course. And I can't wait to get down there and start pre-running. We're going I got a team of razors, and we're going to go down and do it Tuesday, Wednesday, and we're going to stay overnight at Mike's.
Oh, awesome.
Tuesday night.
Good plan.
So that's our plan.
The box.
Yeah, and got the trucks ready, and we're going to go do some pre-running and razors and have some fun and enjoy the weather down there. It's supposed to be perfect.
You're not filming any TV shows this weekend?
No.
What is your TV show called, and where can we find it?
Oh, for all of you that want to see me try to ruin a TV show, I'm on History Channel every Thursday night. It's a show called Truck Night in America, and it's pretty cool. It's a show. It's not desert racing like what we do, but it's 5 guys, regular guys like you and me and Cameron and Fish and anybody
like
in their own 4-wheel drives.
Not if it's like no mullet.
And it's a competition, and we knock out one competitor each challenge, and the winner gets $10,000 every show.
That's pretty cool, actually. And Pete, I know we give you a hard time about your hair, but it's been awesome for years. Has it been hard to keep it like that?
Yeah, it's not easy. I know yours is the same way, Cameron.
Yeah, well, we have to work hard. I know you were poking fun at my dye jobs, but it's just part of the way I run it.
I know, you look fabulous.
Now, Fish, I want to ask you, I mean, obviously, desert racing is booming right now. For those of you who don't know what FishGistics started as, of course, it was online tracking, Fishes at Home, the Desert Assassins, and I know the Mango Racing Team and other teams use you as a logistics piece back home for the U.S. Rally on the Mexico races, but it's become live information, live videos at the races, updates, and it's been really cool. Fish, I got to ask you, I mean, it's pretty crazy to see how fast it's growing, but also at the same time, I mean, whether it's Best in the Desert, Score, Snore, any of the series, there are so many entries, and let's just talk about the trophy truck class. I mean, having over 40 vehicles at San Felipe is pretty mind-boggling.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the highest ones that I can remember for San Felipe for a while. I think obviously a lot of that is, you know, the way that they're doing with no qualifying this year. You have to get a good finishing spot at San Felipe in order to get a good starting spot at the 500 because it goes off the order. So if everybody doesn't know, wherever you finish at San Felipe, that's where you're starting at the 500. So if you finish you have a bad race at San Felipe, you're going to be back at the 500. So that's going to set you back a little ways right away. It's really important that you get.
I mean, trophy truck class is, you know, everybody likes starting position, start up front, but in the trophy truck class, it's even way more important because you're in the front. The first 5 trucks are going to be dust free or way less dust. So it's very important that all the guys that want to win the Baja 500 have to do good here at San Felipe.
Well, and I would say for sure it's going to change the dichotomy of the way the racing happens. I mean, now you're going to see people thinking about making sure they get to the finish line instead of just racing for this win. That's one thing that's going to happen. I think you also open up the possibility of selling start positions. You start talking about different team-ups and how that can play into it, coming out of San Felipe going to the Baja 500. But
I don't think you could sell your starting position and change the driver of record.
No, you'd have to keep the same guy. But,
right.
I mean, we watched it at the Baja 1000 where a great driver came in and drove for Andy McMillan because he and Tavo couldn't go to Brandon Arthur. He came in and he got out right away. It didn't cost them a position on the race course. And, you know, they can basically, you know, in Baja, because you're in a speed zone, you can start with the other driver's seatbelt set up pretty much.
Right.
Jump in, go in the speed zone and strap in. I mean, for me, I don't drive unless the seatbelts are all tight and good. because I'm kind of a worrywart like that.
Yeah, you never know.
But and I don't like to be distracted, but it opens up possibilities for sure. So looking at this field, it is a deep field of trophy truck drivers and teams. I mean, when I look at the list, so for those of you that haven't seen it, you can go to, do you have the start list on the site?
Well, let's look at the course that they're going to have to go through.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about the course. Let's bring that up here.
Well, one thing for sure, when you start talking about San Felipe, it wasn't that long ago where it was a 35-mile whoop section to start,
right?
Some awesome washes, epic dry lake bed, and then some more washes. Then about 20 miles of whoops at the end. Now it's totally changed to where it's basically 300 miles of whoops and about 20 miles of fast-moving race course on the Diablo Dry Lake.
And you're starting and finishing on the Malecon downtown, which is pretty cool for the people. You get to see something. For the racers, they probably maybe don't like it as much.
No, I think it's awesome.
You do like it?
Yeah, I think it's awesome starting down there and finishing on the Malecon right there on the beach.
And I think it's great that SCORE, as long as, I like the speed zones. I'm one of the few people that I appreciate the speed zone. I like to keep it a little bit more safe. And I think SCORE, along with the tourism departments in Baja California, have done a great job at bringing the race right to the iconic spot. I mean, yes, we used to start under the arches, and that was an iconic location, but the Malecon, the beach, the right downtown in San Felipe, that's really the look of and feel of the entire town. So I think that SCORE has done a great job at getting together with the government and making that happen, and making it happen in a safer way, too. I mean, when we first heard that, we're like, oh, there's no way that's going to work. But we did it.
But it worked good last year.
And I thought it was
Well, you can see
good.
looking at the map, the speed zone, so you start over here, right on the Malecon, and the speed zone only goes for, a half a mile maybe, so you get out of town right here, and then you're full speed. So it's not like you're going all the way through town for a long speed zone. So that's cool that they kept it pretty short.
And you'll notice that they do have a little bit different start and finish than what they did before. It looks like we're going to run out through a little bit of a wash and under the Highway 5, which we did go under before, but in a different location. So it's a little bit different going in and out. So I'm sure that's in consideration for the fact that the bikes could be coming around or to finish or to be close when the trucks are going out. But good job by SCORE. That's separating those two and taking a different look at it for sure.
So then once you leave town, you start getting out into the flats here. Now a lot of hard 90s here. How are these things are pretty wide open into them, aren't they?
It just depends because there can be a lot of people out there, so you gotta be careful. We saw a trophy truck roll real close to town a couple years ago. And
Juan Carlos
scared a lot of people, and obviously SCORE has a lot of VCPs on there, so you can't get too
there's one in all the corners.
Yeah,
so
they missed one corner, but if you cut that corner,
right here,
so
you just go from here to here, maybe.
Yeah,
did we just give a secret?
No, because there's a ranch there and there's fences all together, and that's one of the things. A lot of people talk about the VCPs and people talk about creative license of San Felipe, especially with all the washes. And way back in the day, Sal Fish told me. He's like, the spirit of Baja basically is, the washes are open, you can pick lines, but, don't miss the checkpoints, don't miss the virtual checkpoints, and don't do anything to endanger people. And I think Roger's done a good job, and his crew, by the way, Jose G is amazing, and Juan Tintos, the whole group there has been doing a good job, but there's a lot of VCPs, so you're going to have to really mind your P's and Q's. Last year, we lost a spot on the finishing order because we missed the VCP, which we were early in the group. We chose to go the traditional longer way because there was people all over, and we got dinged for a VCP violation, which was really a bummer.
What is the VCP violation? Do you remember how long it is?
9 + 1 minutes.
9 + 1? So I wonder if it's ever an advantage if some people are like, well, you know what, I can save more than that.
What is 9 + 1? It's 10 minutes, right?
Yes, correct. But in our group at Desert Assassins, you don't see the M word and you don't say the 9 + 1 word. You have to do push-ups. So I'm just trained not to say that word.
It's a 10-minute penalty for anybody that doesn't play the Desert Assassin game.
All right, so when you come up to Zoo Road, this is now pavement. This used to be one of the biggest jumps at San Felipe where everybody would go to watch. So there's not going to be any jumping now because, as you can see here, there's a start of speed zone, too.
It depends on how fast the speed zone is. If it's 60 miles an hour, for those of you that haven't seen the sides of the Morelia Road, if you hit that thing at 60 miles an hour, you're going to not only crash, but it's going to be a huge crash flying through the air. So you got to be careful.
There might still be some action there.
Yeah, and actually now we're talking about the course. Now it might be a good time to bring in Jonathan Brenthel. He and his brother were out there marking the course, so we might get them to come over and sit down and take us through, especially the new section. So leaving San Felipe, we're up against the hills, which is a way that we used to do it a long time ago. We've done it a couple times over the last few years. and it cuts across to what is now.
We don't take the traditional power line road.
No, if you're turning right
where
here.
all the spectators would climb up on the power lines to watch. We're not going to be on that road, so it's the same way we took it last year.
Yeah, and then
to
he
the
turns
left,
back
to
south
the
here, kind of
west side.
southwest.
Is that true, Jonathan?
I don't know. You
Come
want to
on
come
over
in?
here. We got.
We'll get one of the guys that actually marked the course.
Yeah,
in.
We
Jonathan
haven't
and
been around, so you
Brenthel
guys
here.
have.
So of course you guys know that they're racing their new trophy truck. They had a
We need
horrible
another chair.
Come on, you can sit on my lap. Come on, we got another chair right there.
Come on in the middle here so we can hear you guys.
So just so you guys know where Jonathan Brenthel drew, the number 27. Wow, that's way back there. That's like 2 pages back. What's that draw position?
Not their greatest draw. You drew 38.
Yeah. And so, just so you guys know, Fish was worried because we invited the Brenthel guys to come, and he thought they might want to beat him up because of
the odds they gave him.
Yeah,
we saw. I thought it was totally reasonable.
All be fun, but the other thing we got
you got to earn your odds here.
I totally can respect that. I got 100 text messages about it, and I was like, I'm all good with it.
And
it's only fair.
The crummy starting spot is not going to help you guys either.
No,
well, the brand new truck also is, probably part of the reason why Fish gave you that, or whoever the round table was. I wasn't involved. I would have given you guys 200 to one bringing a brand new truck. Just saying. But you guys must be excited about the new truck.
Really pumped. Yeah, really pumped. It's we finished one of those new chassis. It's a Gen 3, and this will be the second one. And it's come a long way from other stuff. Learned from all the other trucks we put together, and yeah.
Congratulations on the win at the Mint 400 and the 6100.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Cameron's sister team.
Yeah,
right?
yep. Our boys.
Pico and Mike Kraft. Yep. Awesome.
Yeah. And they went from they got a flat in qualifying.
Yep.
And did not start in the front of TT Spec. They started in the back, and they fought their way through and won the race. So that was awesome.
I'll tell you one of the secrets to that, and we'll get back to the course, is the engineer, Mike Kraft, riding right seat. He rode with me at Nora. He's ridden with me a few times. He is a brilliant race engineer. And I know Bobby's a great driver, and I think I'm a pretty good driver, but to have someone that engineers it like that in their head is really awesome. Anyway, do we go out of town on the pole lines like we traditionally do?
On the pole lines, we go on the... Wait, where
on the beginning of the race course.
So we're like
right past the dump.
Right after dump, we go to the right. Yeah, we take the pole line on the right, go all the way down.
Oh, we do?
And, across to what's traditionally mile 13, and then you make the hard left, which is the other access to the other side, correct?
So we're not running next to the mountain. We're running down the traditional pole line where all the spectators will be on the highlights.
They'll be jumping on top of the antennas there. And then that speed zone, if you guys didn't talk about that.
Yeah, right across the road.
Yep, so right when the bumps get real big.
What did they say the speed's going to be?
60.
60?
Yeah.
So you're only slowing down to 60.
Correct. Yeah, but it's going to be kind of unique because that's where you kind of need to either get on top of them and go a little bit faster than that, I think.
You're real big right there.
Yeah.
Why are they doing 60-mile-an-hour speed zone there? Just because of
for the road crossing?
For the spectators and the
road crossing.
Right there. Yep, just too many close calls.
I probably won't be going 60 because I'm kind of careful about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, right.
And so my big question for you guys, obviously Score's done a lot of work to make some really unique areas, but right here we start talking about race mile 24 on the outbound and coming in like race mile 190. I wanted to ask you guys, I mean, those are a couple sections. We haven't actually raced up against the mountain all the way through the Morelia area, which I see that it's marked by looking at it here. But it does come really close, and we all know that where check 2 is, there's a choke point there where you can't get over the mountain on even bikes. So they has to be pretty close together. Tell us about that situation. Do you feel like it's 2 really clear defined lanes and it's pretty solid effort?
So far, when we're going through there, it seems like it's pretty clear. On race day, I'm not sure, what they may or may not have right there as far as... It can get a little bit more confusing, obviously, on race day. Everybody finds their own lines and goes pretty far.
And that is a stop check, too, I believe, at check 2, right?
So that's correct. And that's, between the time that we marked the course, on this particular course, we did a lot of trailblazing. So, we're the first tracks out there. By the time race day comes, there might be a slight line to the right or left, and that really starts defining where the course is. So, we'll kind of see right before race day where it's actually...
No one would ever straighten out the race course, right?
No, never.
Yeah, look at all these lines right here.
I think that's called homework.
There's a lot of areas without VCPs right here, so this is all wide open, right?
Well, that you get on the Morelia Road right there. You're on that
right here,
Or you're actually, you're on that sand wash fast road right there. So going off, they're not really good. And then you start going overland. So now very few of us have ever been out in that area.
Yep, big bumps.
Big respect to Ox way back in the days. He actually had a line out there that he used on his dirt bike that was pretty clever. We talked about it and looked at it. So there, I know.
You want to show me where that line's at?
I can basically where VCP 35 is. There was a cut from 34 across into that wash up there. So that's paying homage to Jeff and his hard work. But now that, if I'm not mistaken, is all overland, correct? That's all pretty much fresh tracks.
Yep. So this is all new through here.
We were trailblazing all of that. There was nothing there. Yeah.
And am I correct that there is an old survey road on the north side of this as we start getting up towards race mile 36 and that straight line there? Or is that just straight push through that you guys did? That straightish line going vertical
from the hard right here and then back up to the hard left. What is this all right here?
That's just overland?
Just blaze a new trail through there?
I don't think it was a new trail.
I don't think that was new. I think it was an old trail that we haven't done in a long time.
That was an old course there.
Yeah, I think originally that might have been part of the survey road.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So for those of you that don't know, Baja has all kinds of crazy, very straight roads where no one would be going, and it's all part of a survey team that was out here. Allegedly, when people were out searching for different oils and minerals on the peninsula, they did all these different cuts so they could see it from the satellites. We're talking about back in the 50s.
Wow.
Yeah, so there's a lot of that existing, and I won't tell you exactly how I know that, but I know that.
So once you get to VCP 16, you start going through the mountains here, it looks like.
And when you get to VCP 16, which is a cool VCP number, by the way, that pole line that you cross there, back in the 90s, I think the last time we ever raced through there was 1994. We actually went through the mini summit, which is just to the south and to the east there, back over here. And that is unpassable by vehicle now, but there's that's a historical route. But that is the pole line that goes from San Felipe all the way up through San Matias Pass. So obviously they're not maintaining the pole line in there because there's no way you can get a vehicle through there. Yeah. This is the part we haven't seen this, but this looks like really cool overland tough stuff.
Yeah.
As you start to get around the top up near Borrego and go back to three poles. How cool is that area?
Yeah, it's great stuff. Yeah.
Rocky, technical. Some of the little pinch points there.
Yeah, the choke points, we measured a couple of them. They're down to as much as 70 feet across to get through there. And the thing that I really like about this section that we're looking at right now is that you can see there's a lot of desert shrub or white on the bottom part, and then you see like more geographical changes or geological changes, I should say, where the land has been shoved up and there's like rocks and there's like that kind of that red rock, pure hell. Like, you don't want to hit a tire on one of those. No. Yeah. So it looks like a great cross-section stuff. And am I correct? That looks like about a 6% grade all the way up that section.
Oh, yeah, it's a great grade.
Yeah, you're going uphill this whole way, huh? Definitely. Like mile 55.
So it's sandy, uphill. It just takes its toll.
I know that over the years, Score has kind of eliminated those uphill sand washes. This has a little bit more of a running room, it looks like. So it's not really a sand wash, but in some of those choke points are pretty tight.
They will be.
Yeah, so something to think about for the teams out there that maybe aren't used to running uphill sand washes. Think about what you're doing.
Keep it alive.
So then you drop back down here towards Highway 5. You come back over to almost to the highway.
Yep, almost to the highway. It's about a quarter mile off the highway right there. So that's obviously a good spot if you're going to check in on your tracker, kind of get a visual.
Yeah, there'll probably be a lot of chase
first
teams
big pit area there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Mile 67 or so.
Yeah, that'll be a big spot, I'm sure. A lot of guys, a lot of chase trucks.
And so just to point out here, when I was a kid, we used to race right up alongside Highway 5, almost to the junction, which is known as Three Poles, a little bit further down from there. And we used to get in the wash and then race across. All this to the left, to the left, to the left has all become the, so to speak, creative lines over the last few decades of racing. And back in the days, those are those mysterious spots that how did they pass me? That's how they did it right there.
That's exactly what we said. We were marking. All right, we're taking the line this time.
Got to do your homework.
The line is now the race course, and there's a VCP in the end, obviously, so you got to make sure.
Well, there's a lot less creative lines now with all the VCPs.
Yeah. Well, you got to come all the way over here. You can't just go right here.
And one of the things that I personally complained about inside the race truck, but not to Score, is that it looks like to me that Score is taking some of the better racers, the people that maybe won the race or ran really well, and they're taking their tracker and going back and marking those sections the next time based on how the faster cars went through there.
Really?
So they're giving up the line. So there's places where there's little itty bitty advantages and things to think about, and they're using them. Yep. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's not very fair. For me,
that's what we talked about. We talked about that a bit with Jose when we were marking the course. We're like, you can't put the race course on the line. Like that's the line.
I think
sometimes we check our line. And
for me, some of the theory of Baja is being able to go out and explore to find that line. The guy that's willing to put in the 7 days of pre-running, walk the lines, create something different. I think that should pay off for that team because they make the effort. And I think that's some of the separation. Obviously, whether it's Google Earth, GPS, the race organizations marking it on the fast lines, that's starting to eliminate that. And I think it kind of makes it all, I don't want to say it's too even because that's kind of the way it is, but it's eliminating some of that expertise. Like guys like myself and Pete or McMillan, we've been doing this for decades. There should be some kind of advantage. Just giving everybody the line, I think, is weak sauce. I don't know. What do you think, Pete? You disagree? You want everybody on that line?
I like everyone to go the same amount of miles. In years past, people have, gotten past and never saw the guy that passed them. I wonder how that happens.
Growing up as a kid, you could race against Mike Leone of Mike Sky Rancho up in the hills, right? And you would pass him somewhere out near, Valle Trinidad before that, and then you get up in the mountains and you catch him again. You'd be like, wait a minute.
So what are you saying? You passed the same guy 3 times in a 50-mile section?
Maybe. But that was all part of good pre-running. And nowadays, you can see some of those lines are still existing up in those mountains. And they still exist here. There's still fabled lines near or on this race course that aren't being used. And they probably wouldn't work for this race. But there's all kinds of different things going on out there. But stay on the course, don't deviate because that's cheating.
I think a lot of it, though, you have to look at it, too. We have the BLM in America, and we're down to single lines everywhere in the Nevada races.
Not totally true. There's multiple lines in some of the areas.
But, they don't want you driving off the course, not even to pass people, or the rules. Right. So, it's going to come to Baja, too. So we need to make the impact on the environment least as possible.
I agree 100% that you definitely want to be conscious of the area you're driving in, whatever it is, being friendly to the environment. But a lot of this is wash terrain.
Right. No, I like it too. When they say, hey, when the wash is 100 yards wide, you can take any line because next time it rains, there's not going to be any lines.
So once you come across the highway here, it's kind of what you guys are talking about. It's just kind of open wash. Like there's a VCP in the corner.
There's actually a pole line there at race mile 76. There are, there used to be a couple different ways through there, but now that it's on the pole lines, it's really fast, hard to deviate from the fastest one.
Pretty much just stay on it. Yeah.
For me, it's one of the scariest parts of the race course because I don't like to go 100 miles an hour between the power poles. But we do it. I just close my eyes.
Yeah. And this race, if you let off, someone's going to be right on you because you're the first car off the line.
That's terrible.
So you're going to have to go.
We should tell them all to slow down a little bit.
You got to tell everybody behind you.
No, it's way easier. Here, let me show you something I'm going to do. Let's kill up a little further. This is El Chinero here where you make the hard left turn. A historical area on the Baja Peninsula. So in these choke canyons in here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a crew at race mile 88. Provided we get there first, we're going to have all kinds of 2x4s with nails on them all strewn across the racetrack.
So you can't get through?
So there's going to be a mass roadblock there if people change the
spike strips?
I'm doing pretty well because I start pretty far back. So then
that's going to help you.
Yeah,
it'll be cleared out by then.
You'll be able to stop there and hang out.
That's all in jest, of course, people. Anybody that would do such a thing is not racing in the spirit of off-road racing. It's just funny fodder.
Just giving them some ideas.
So this is
I don't know one person, no matter how much of a jerk they are, that would actually do something like that. Except for maybe Pete.
No.
Pistol, I don't know.
No,
I've seen some giant boulders in the track, though, that I don't know how the guys in front of me got by them before.
That's interesting.
It must be the locals.
Yeah.
The booby traps.
So this is one of my favorite areas. Of course, we're going to probably have to hurry up if we're going to get through this in an hour. But I love this red rock, these canyons back in here. That's really beautiful. And what's cool about it is every time it has a decent rain, it changes just a little bit. The rocks move just a little bit.
Shows more rocks.
Yeah, you got to think about it a lot more when you're going through there than when you're just smashing whoops going across the desert.
So once you go through there, you get a little bit of a break, right? This gets a little bit
depends
easier
on what depends on what you consider a break, because as soon as you get to race mile 104, you're going 125 miles an hour. And there's like 3 kind of rollers in there. It's like, wait a minute. As soon as you come over one rise, it's like it could be disaster. So make sure you guys do your pre-run and be careful.
So it's a little Glamis-like section here, huh?
Definitely,
Fast.
We also burned in a new line up there at the top as well, as soon as you turn back on the left.
Right up here?
Yep.
By 110 or so?
Yeah, there's a new line over there we burned in, and actually took a while to find just when we were course marking. Sometimes you get a GPS course, and we have to go back 5 times just to figure out where it is. Go super slow, go back, make sure we mark it.
We try to bring.
Now, do they give you a line approximately where they want it to go, and then you guys make the official GPS line, right?
No. There's an official GPS line.
So when you pre-run, you're just following whatever line they give you.
We have the GPS
exactly.
file, just like you would in the race truck. Yeah. And then we're just going out there and really
doing stakes and stuff.
Exactly, we're just doing the stakes, putting those up, and trying to make sure.
Yeah, so
everyone
for the
can see it,
clarification on that, we don't do any of the VCPs. We get a lot of flack for that. Why'd you put so many? We have anything of that. We're there just to put
volunteers and go out there to help out.
Yep. I like more VCPs because I think it, Cameron might not like it. I like it to be more fair and everybody cover the same amount of miles. If you're going to beat me, that's fine, but beat me by going the same distance, not shorter.
Yeah,
so I'm a VCP liker.
I like to be able to, straighten out the lines. Not cut 5 miles off the course, but definitely be able to find a line that is faster over here that you don't have to go through the rocks. And this one's just to the right of it, and you can just boogie through it.
So what about
I would
right
think
here where
that
it goes
too,
on the
right there.
highway?
It could have a VCP.
I personally think
Have and leave all those center ones out so you can go any way you want across that valley.
Yeah.
And just as long as you get to the other side.
that spot there, as you go by the Valle de Sol Road at race mile 154, leading into that from race mile 150 there, where you come up along the highway, there is some dangerous holes in there. I mean, that thing, you can get going real fast on the fast part, and then all of a sudden it's like, hold on to your hats and glasses.
This is not on the highway right here. It kind of looks like it, but it's right on the side of it.
Right.
Just to the left.
Yeah,
just on the
side.
That's a really dangerous spot because guys like to drive next to their race vehicle and video. And there's
filming.
Spectators everywhere. They come down from Mexicali to hang out there, and it's really dangerous.
If you're watching this, don't let your team do that.
No.
Don't have your truck driving alongside your race car there. It's not a good idea. Be safe, be smart. I mean, don't add to the chaos of what a desert race already is. Then we head up into the base of San Matias Pass, which is where the 180 U-turn is at VCP 30. That's race mile about 160.3, something like that.
Yep.
And that's a cool historical zone. Obviously, we've all been racing through San Matias forever, and the San Felipe races many times have gotten that wash. And speaking of moving rocks, wow, you can go down that wash at 9 in the morning and have all the rocks figured out, and you come back at 11 in the morning, they're all in different spots.
Yeah.
And that's from people just punting them and hitting them, moving around, uncovering them, turning them up. So there's a lot of big rocks in there, so be real careful.
Hard to do the pre-running and keep your notes exact, and they're changing so often in some of those.
So this is all pretty fast coming back down through here, right? This looks pretty
It's a downhill section
wide
coming
open,
off of that
fast.
big U-turn, and you're going down that sand wash, and like Cameron said, all the rocks get kicked out, and that is trying to get a trophy truck stopped going downhill. It just doesn't work.
And then for those of you that don't like big yellow sand bumps because they're hard to see, that section after San
Really
Matias
wide.
Wash is there's a lot of different ways to do that, but be careful if you're moving around out there. Remember, other fast vehicles might be coming through, and be cognizant of that. And then Diablo Dry Lake. One of the tricky parts about Diablo Dry Lake is it's become like that. It's got a rut down the middle.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful. You can't just cross real easily. How's it look right now? Was it wet out there at all? Was it all totally dry?
It was totally dry, but it was the rut looked a little better right now, actually.
Does it?
And there's VCPs on the dry lake as well, right?
Yeah, I think there was a couple of them.
There's a few.
One over there,
No.
180 or so.
No VCPs on the lake bed.
Is this a lake bed here?
No, the lake bed's going to start right at like 170.2.
Okay.
So, no, it didn't look like there's any VCPs on the lake bed. But really, the road that goes across the lake bed is the straight line.
Yeah, the course is definitely the straightest
line.
The straightest point.
Yeah. So then it gets back into coming down here where it gets real close to the course again, coming back in. So hopefully most of the cars have gone through the other way just so that there's not anybody too close to each other right here.
How is the, everybody always asks me about the silt. How's the silt at the end of the dry lake?
At the end of the dry lake, we were surprised that we didn't see it.
Right when you come off, there's that spot.
Right when you come off, if you stay to the left, there's those real big silt beds.
Yeah.
The course stays to the right, and then it goes into that sandy section. So
not a big deal.
We're all pretty clear. Yeah, I was wondering that myself.
The whole course, I'd say there was nowhere to be any silt.
So then it gets that tight section comes into Morelia Junction. Now, people watching, if you send your crews out there during the race, or if you're thinking about going out there, that is a very dangerous area because there's a lot of activity going both directions. The other thing is the Morelia Road, I believe, is still two-way. If I had it my way, I would make the road one way in the morning and the other way in the afternoon, so there's no.
And don't let anybody go.
Don't let anybody go. If they go out there, they're out there, because the dust and the fact that people think they're racing on Morelia Road is really dangerous. Everybody be super careful if you go out there. Lights on, and just be aware. This section here, I really love. I think that it's brutal. It's very rough.
Because they cut that one, Cameron, how many years ago? Sal cut that one because they didn't want us on Morelia Road anymore.
8 years ago.
And it has gotten rougher and rougher.
It is a total piece of trash.
Yeah.
It's just like every other year.
Even in a trophy truck.
But if you want to try to make ground and you've got the balls for it, that's a place you can do it.
Yeah, we got to get to talking smack about our fellow competitors.
What about hey, wait, go back up a little, Fish. What about, Cameron, where people always say they come off of that road and they go down and they go on the path right next to Morelia?
Well,
you see that big
VCPs farther down.
You see that big gap between the VCPs?
Right here.
Yeah.
There's no VCPs.
There's one right here, VCP 38.
Yeah.
And what's the next one?
I think
the next one's down a ways.
every driver's meeting
Right here
addresses that I've
So,
ever been to.
in my
got that big
opinion,
of a gap
there's
right
probably 3 or 4 lanes wide in there. There's a couple different lines that are faster.
Yeah.
But the line you're talking about, Pete, that people have been using, there is a pretty you have to turn out to it. You have to turn back to it.
Are you talking about the line right here that we can see that's kind of...
That's the road, actually.
Yeah, that's the great road.
That's the Morelia Road.
Yeah, but it's negligible, to be honest with you.
It's a lot of work to get out to it and
By the
get
time
back
you
as
get
well.
back to it and come back.
Well, I hear people complain about other people taking it. So that's why I asked.
Well, I mean, you can talk to a score about it, but
I'm a rule follower, Cameron. You know that. So I stay on the track. I like the bumps,
He'll
too.
be right here on this blue line.
I'm
a
getting
lot of us
old.
will
I'd
be.
like to find a smoother line.
this is all overland cross grain. There's a lot of gnarly stuff through here. There's 2 narrow fences to be concerned about. Definitely pay attention to that, but also pay attention to how big those wind lips get, because what happens is those big sand whoops, when there's no one racing out there, you get a big wind down that canyon. It starts to make little lips on it, or makes the lip steeper. So everybody heads up on that. Something to definitely pay attention to.
All right, then you're getting into some more washes here.
That's the end of the Watamote wash where it comes out there, and there's a pretty cool sandy section in there. There's been a lot of rain over the last year, so it doesn't probably look real deep or nasty in there.
All right. So then this is another lake bed, or what do we got right here? What is this?
No, this is a transfer section where we cut across.
Right where we come across, and you're following that fence line.
Right, the fence line with the big
So
rollers.
the whips are pretty rigid right there, and they're pretty close to that barbed wire
And
fence.
they climb twice and then
Yes.
drop
Climb
away.
twice.
They climb
Exactly.
twice and drop away.
Yep.
And that's a hair raising section in the trophy.
It is,
truck, for
because
sure.
That's what we're talking about. We're going through.
I mean, you can go as fast as you want.
Right.
And you're just next to the barbed wire, just kind of like...
If your
right
truck
there.
steps out,
That's
and you catch
sketchy.
that fence.
Yeah.
We've
It's really sketchy.
over the years we've stopped. I mean, we do a little different when we pre-run, but anytime we see barbed wire in the race course, we stop and pull it out. But definitely be
Well, not
careful
on the
running.
course,
No,
I'm just saying.
sometimes there is
Yeah,
down
of
there.
course.
It's close enough to grab it. Definitely.
Especially if you're on a bike.
Yeah.
Be real careful down there.
Yep.
And
So down on the bottom here, what is this? Is this another wash here that we're dropping in?
Yep, that's our, it's almost a switchback, dropping into Matomi Wash. And that's
the fabled line has been eliminated by VCP 49. There used to be a cut across from
right there.
before race mile 236 or at 236. You could cut across and drop into the wash, and of course
So you used to be able to go right here
You can save a little time.
somewhere.
Yeah.
But now you got to come in here.
Yep. So that's been changed. And
I think
and
Fish's
Pete's happy about that.
Fish's favorite racer tried that once and
I think
succeeded.
there was a video of that.
Yeah.
I think actually he was called all good. And to be honest with you, I felt like it was all good. I mean, he used
If there wasn't a
creative
VCP,
line.
right?
Yep.
No rule if there wasn't a VCP.
But it's all up to interpretation. Just depends. But yeah, that's been used by the motorcycle guys over the years. And at that time, that particular racer had a motorcycle rider as the navigator, if we will all remember that.
There you go.
The Narrows of Matomi, that's a famous section. If you go back just a little bit, this
I want to
whole-
hear about Matomi. I've heard gnarly rock.
got a lot of rocks right
Is
now,
it all
or-
baloney?
I mean, the last time we raced through it, it looks
like
flat,
identical
it looks
to
the same
last
thing.
time.
What did you guys pre-run in?
Can-Am.
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 Yep.
UTV,
One
so
or two?
narrow.
One Can-Am or two Can-Ams?
one.
Can-Am.
Yeah.
And then did you have to get out and stack any rocks or do anything, or did you just drive through it?
We just
We
went
get
right
out
through
and
it.
wash it.
Yeah, I mean,
we look around, take
Yeah, but
videos.
you didn't have to.
No.
no, definitely not.
So it's
No,
not.
just basically
It's
the
not.
right.
It's not as gnarly as people are saying.
No, it's just the fact that you're gonna hit drive shafts, you're gonna hit third members, you're gonna hit stuff like that. It's more paying attention to that. Getting through it won't be a problem.
If there's someone stuck,
There's
a right line and a left line.
So there's 2 lines.
It's 2 lines. It's
all right.
to
People have tuned in to hear about the field, not the race course, is what I'm saying.
All right, so the rest of this is kind of the same stuff we always.
A lot of the same stuff. This bottom section that comes out of Matomi is a little different for some people. They might not have made that turn into those big yellow sand bumps in there. Yep. We used to actually call that a Zoufre wash, which I don't think it is. That Zoufre actually cuts across, but it gets up on the old Portesitos Road, then tucks back into Chinate, and then comes out at Amarias Wash, which is a really cool section of the race course, in my opinion. It hasn't been used a lot over the years, and it's got some fast sections. It's got some lines. It's got some big rocks. It's got some big consequence out there as well. Then back through town.
Back into the finish. So
I think the hardest part on the whole race course is the last 8 miles out of
figuring out how to get back.
Yeah, trying to figure out what the best way through those bumps is, and it's just usually right down the guts of the bumps.
Yeah.
It's so hard in there.
Well, let's see who we think is going to be the first one to come back in here.
Well,
looking at the
you don't want to ask me that
looking
question.
at the list. Well, yeah, we can't ask Cameron because he's going to get everyone knows what that answer is going to be, right?
Yeah. There's a lot that can happen on a race, and you got to think about it all the way through and figure out how it's going to work. We purposely put a certain engineering plan in place for the Baja 1000 and ended up costing us the possibility of winning at the end. Granted, I did hit a hole and knock the lights off the front of the truck, but we had a plan which also had 20 minutes of stop time in it. We pretty much nailed our plan on point and ended up second. So you can engineer it, but this race is a little bit more of a sprint. Would you agree, Pete, that you kind of got to be up on the pipe, but it's a race that will kill your tranny. It'll kill tires. There's a lot of hidden rocks out there. Third members are a big one out here for people, maybe, something to think about. And of course, overusing your suspension. We've heard the stories over the years of people boiling their shock fluid.
Yeah, but we've gotten the shock so big and the reservoir so big now, I don't think that's as much of an issue. Everyone's running 4.5s, where we used to run 3-inch shocks on the trophy trucks back in the day.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's a big issue. I think the guy with the biggest advantage is you, Cameron.
Sitting right here. So
you
speaking of Cameron,
you want your best chance to ever win San Felipe. This is it. Now I see
his odds have moved. His odds have moved since his starting position. So I had him before the race. I had him at 3.5 to 1. So now with the starting position, I had to bump him up to 3 to 1. 3 to 1. So yeah, he moved up half a point with the starting position.
Now, Cameron, you are starting first, and mysteriously, you're starting 13th.
Yes.
Lucky 13.
Lucky 13. So we're very fortunate.
Which truck are you starting in?
Well, there's 2 right here behind us, right?
Yeah, we have both trucks prepped. They're both ready to go. So a little bit of backstory on that. I know there's been some heat over a couple of us entering multiple entries in the race. But
you actually have 2 trucks.
I actually have 2 trucks, or we have 2 trucks, the Desert Assassins. Now, this is going to be I'll make the Cliff Notes version of why we did that. So we have multiple race teams. We talked about winning the Mint 400 and the 6100 truck. Our plan has been all along to take all 3 of these vehicles to NORA. That's been changing a little bit because our team is leading the points at Best in the Desert. We didn't even intend originally to race the Best in the Desert season. So now pre-running for that race, the Silver State race, is on top of NORA. So there's a possibility that we will race the 14, and there's also a possibility we will not race the 14. We're uncertain at this point right now what we're going to do. We're taking that truck testing on Monday, but we're still not sure what we're doing. We could pull out. We could race it. It just depends. We haven't really figured that out. Now, if you're going to ask me the question.
And what are the odds on that, Fish? Of the 14 actually starting the race?
On the starting?
That's the odds I was wondering.
What are the odds? What do you think?
0.
Now, I'll tell you this.
14 will not be racing.
Had the 14 drawn first.
The 14 drew first, it would be racing, and this boy would be driving it.
Now,
I promise.
I guarantee you if the 14 had drawn top 3 or top 5, it would also be racing. But right now we're uncertain. We're still right now planning on going to NORA, and we are also, our whole team has shifted plans to race the whole Best in the Desert season. So for us, there's budgetary constraints.
Okay, I don't want to hear any more bullshit. I know exactly why you entered both vehicles.
Right.
And
for
so
better starting position.
For everyone,
yes. Right. Better starting position.
All right.
So we'll get rid of all that bullshit. Okay, here's my question. Another one of our favorites, Rob Mack, who's starting 6th. He entered another entry as well, 11L.
In the Legends class.
Different class.
He entered 2 classes, but they start together. So
entered 2 classes with
He was trying to get the same thing. Here's my theory on that.
I can't say that Rob Mack doesn't have access to a second truck.
He might.
I understand what you're saying.
He obviously did the exact same thing you did.
Let me say the piece. Over the years, there has been a requirement for tags to be submitted when you enter the race.
I agree.
And this time, there was no tag requirement.
You realize that I created the tag on your entry thing about 15 years ago. I got tired of my bestest buddy, Robbie Gordon, entering Bob Gordon, Billy Bob Gordon, Roberto Gordon, and what was his navigator guy? I don't know. His navigator, he'd enter two, all for the Baja 1000 to get the best starting spot, which is great. But I find it ridiculous and unfair. Everybody gets one chance for starting.
So the tags weren't required this time?
No, the tags were not required back in the day. So you could enter anybody you wanted.
This time,
and
there was no tags.
I bet you that's going to change.
But I
it's
entered
changed.
Pete Sohren.
Yes.
I entered Pete Sohren, Pedro Sohren, and Pierre Sohren. I sent in all the entries to score, and I immediately got a phone call. Hey, what the hell are you doing? I go, those are my cousins. They're going to race. And they said, no, you're not doing that. So that's when we developed.
People can have heartache over it, but at the end of the day, whether Rob did that, I did that, or anybody else did that, it's open. So if you're a racer, you're looking at these different possibilities, and I'm going to tell you that we still may be racing the 14.
You're not.
But if there's an opportunity for an advantage with no VIN tag, it's open.
But here's the other thing,
do people hate us
enter
for
the
that?
same class. He entered the Legends class, so he didn't put two in the same class.
We're in the same class, in the same draw.
Yes, but here's the problem.
He had his name in the drawing for the starting position for San Felipe.
Yep.
2 times, where other people only get 1.
But it's because they combine both classes. So the easiest way to get rid of this...
He may not have known they were combining the classes.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
I'm just saying it's possible.
I bet you from now on,
you don't want to know the odds of that?
Both.
0. The odds of that were 0.
Well, here's the thing.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
We all wanted qualifying.
And he did draw, right?
It's not against the rules. It
Rob
wasn't
did draw somewhere back here, which is already eliminated.
Now gone.
He already eliminated the entry because, he's taking the one up here in the front. I find it unsportsmanlike. That's the only reason I don't like it.
I think you just put the Legends behind the trophy trucks.
Well, I think
Why didn't you guys do it?
I didn't have another truck.
You don't have to have one. Rob doesn't have another one.
Well,
there's no tag on the entry form like there usually is.
But a lot of people didn't know that.
Can appreciate it.
They didn't know that. But here's the argument. Here's the argument too. If someone would have said you drew X, our trucks are pretty clearly defined. Yes, we race them as different numbers sometimes. The 14, this chassis over here has raced as a 16 a number of times. This has raced as a 14, but predominantly people know what our trucks are. Either one can win.
Okay.
But yes.
I think they just put the Legends after the trophy trucks.
My head's spinning from the book. I'm getting my feet off the floor because shit's getting deep in here, people.
Tap dance a little bit. The bottom line is, yes, there is a possibility of advantage. Everybody was pre-trained that tag numbers were included, so a lot of the shenanigans from days gone by have not been happening. Some people may have noticed there was no tag number and took advantage of the situation. I guarantee you Score will have tag numbers next time, and I guarantee it won't happen again this way. It happened one time. It was whoever set up the entry thing didn't put the tag number on there, and that's how it happened. If
they haven't had a draw in so long.
Right, they haven't had a draw in so long that they didn't know.
Yeah.
And I bet you the Legends go behind the trophy truck.
I find it surprising.
I think the Legends should go behind the trophy.
Yeah.
Isn't it crazy that both guys that withdrew an entry didn't withdraw the one up front? They withdrew.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle.
But it's not against the rules.
No. All right, let's move on.
All right.
Let's move on.
Here, one guy who also had a very strong opinion about this, Luke McMillan. He's on my list of top 10 for this race. Now, I had Luke at 3.6 to 1 before the draw, but now Luke drew 29th. He's screwed.
Yes.
Honestly.
Well, Bill Soul is
he's not screwed. He's not screwed because San Felipe is a race that is a lot more sand and not all silt, so you can pass.
In the length edition,
multiple lines.
Multiple lines. There's a lot of sand wash. Obviously, we saw on the map that there's a zillion VCPs, so that does cut down some of the creative passing. But I think San Felipe is a course that you can start in the back and get up to the front. But it's definitely a huge advantage.
Tabo's
proven that.
Tabo's proven that.
Yeah,
that is true. But when Tabo did it, the level of competition is not what it is this race.
Yeah. Right.
I think
it was only 2 years ago that he won last time, right?
Entries, so many entries.
Yeah, but there was only 15
the only
guys
reason
that
all
were
the entries
40.
are here is because of Baja 500.
The McMillans weren't there. There's a lot of people that weren't
Right.
there when he did that. Not saying he couldn't do it again, but it was a different feel.
I mean, I think 2 years ago when Billy Wilson won it, I don't even think there was 10 trophy trucks.
Like 10 or 12.
Yeah. There was not very
race.
many that race.
Different race.
It's a different race.
It's a different world when we're talking about trophy truck racing.
When you got 40, we have 41 trophy trucks entered. That's a real race.
Nobody's
Speaking of
happy
another
about
guy,
the draw, but they did exactly what Score intended for it to, right?
It worked.
It got everyone to come.
Whether or not we're happy about it or not, it's still
Actually,
that was their goal, and everybody wants to race it because they want to have a good
I
start.
basically told Roger to do this 3 years ago. I said, "Do you want to have all?" Yes, my fault. I told him not to tell.
Everything's Pete's
I said,
fault.
"Don't tell anybody." But I said, "Hey, you want to get all the big guys, Cameron, and
I've
all
been
the
going. I've
and
been
all the
going.
top
We
and all
haven't
the
missed
top
San Felipe.
guys to your race. Make it so only the top 10 in points get a start in the top 10 spots. You immediately make everybody come race your races." Because you have to start in the top 10 if you want to race, if you want to win the Baja 500 and the Baja 1000, which are basically the only races that matter in desert racing. Sorry.
No, he's right.
So what was the other guy, speaking of that, the other guy that almost just won the Mint, Adopoli Lopez here, he's got a bad start too. He's in the back. You guys, if anybody can come through the pack, I think he's one of them.
Oh, we're going to have a lot of action. We're going to have a lot of action right here at
He's right in
spot
front of
27, 28, 29 is Billy Wilson, followed by Abdali, followed by Luke McMillan.
Exactly.
So
That's a freight train right there.
Yeah. Those
And where did
three
Andy draw?
are going to be wanting to push people out of the way. Andy's good.
11th.
Andy's 11th.
Andy's 11th. So I actually bumped his odds up a little bit too after the draw, just because 11th I feel is that's a pretty good starting spot. Not too bad. And if you look at the people in the front, there's a lot of fast people up front. Yeah. Like,
Right.
you look at the top three. There's three cars that will go pretty good.
There's
even four
I
all the way down.
I see no slouch. I see that
There's
legend.
one legend entry up there.
And you know what? That is a trophy truck spec truck, if I believe.
I wouldn't be surprised if that truck moves back. Maybe
I would, if I was those guys, I would definitely not want to start in the middle of that.
No, I would want to get out of there.
Shark Tank.
Yeah, that's a lot of coming right behind you.
I
Yeah,
like
it's a-
you. I
it's
like
a
you.
spec.
Believe
It's
Luke
a
is a
spec
great
truck with a
driver.
little
He's
motor.
a really good pre-runner. I think that Luke has a good chance in San Felipe because of his pre-running skills, his ability to remember the terrain, and personally, I think Luke's only weak point is the overthinking of some of the situation, the truck itself. I think he just needs to go out and drive.
And extremely bad luck. Like have you seen the things that have come out of these races?
Luck
like,
is
it's been
when
so bad.
opportunity meets preparedness, my mom said. So you can throw luck out the window.
There
I
you go.
have none of it, right? Zero. Last year we led this race by like
Well, you got
5
some.
minutes.
You got the first starting spot. You're telling me that wasn't
Cameron,
lucky at all?
I mean, you guys talk about Luke. Yes, Luke, but he's starting 29th. If one of the guys, especially you, Cameron,
If Cameron
or
has a
Bean,
perfect race, Cameron
they
wins.
have good. You guys have a perfect race. There's no way you can overcome having to pass all
No
those
way.
people.
No way.
It's just
definitely
not.
much tougher.
It's not
So
realistic.
let's talk about the second entry here, because it was Bryce, but Bryce isn't driving now, as we know. So do you think Bean has been told, look, you go to have a good race, but you need to make sure you finish? Or is he told you go win?
What is it? What is the story?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. If it's you and you're Bryce, what do you tell him? Because you want a good starting spot for the 500. You don't want something to happen.
You
But
want to be in the top
he's
10
number
freight
two.
train.
He's
Yeah, I
number two.
tell
He
him-
has a good chance at winning up there.
I mean, and which would be it? That would be an easy top 5 spot. You wouldn't have to take any chances from starting in the second spot, in my opinion.
You can cruise to the top 5.
Yes,
Not cruise. You got to go
from up there in the front.
but you don't have to run up in my dust, so to speak.
Yeah,
to
you
get
don't
that
have to
top
drive
5.
wild. You can miss all the big rocks.
So what do you think he does? You think he just stays, or does he try to pass Cameron?
If I'm Bean and I have this opportunity to win a big race and show off for Red Bull, I'm trying to run over Cameron in the first 10 miles. Right?
There you go.
Well, it's an interesting dichotomy because Bean actually navigated his first off-road race. We won the Baja 1000, 2003. He was our navigator. And then
Well,
these guys have some
Bean's
history, too.
One of your best friends.
best friend, right?
Was
and
here
we
on the
raced
team
together
forever, yes.
Forever. Actually, this second truck, originally when we started plotting it, was something that was going to be for Bean to go into. He made the jump to do something else, which is cool. But what's interesting is we both know each other's heads, right? He knows my strengths and weaknesses, and I know his strengths and weaknesses. So it's interesting to see how it might play out.
Bean's first trophy truck ride was driving your truck when you couldn't drive on Sunday at Laughlin, and I think you guys ended up second.
Second.
Good job.
Yeah, Bean's a phenomenal driver, great talent. He's put the time in. I mean, he's raced a lot of the limited cars. He knows how to use the lines. He knows how to pre-run.
And he's got some cool, like,
the mustache,
porn-looking facial hair.
So, Adam Hassler is actually watching right now. He starts third. He says he's coming for you, Cameron. He says, I'm ready to battle.
Bring it on. I love Adam. I actually think Adam's a great talent, and I look forward to racing against him.
He's come a long way from 1450.
He's one of my sleeper picks this race.
Well,
he's a sleeper pick.
I think that one of the things that really Adam's going to benefit from making the truck change is he's going to benefit from multiple truck technology, input from other vehicles. I think the one thing that he was that was struggling for their team was they were a one-off, so to speak, trophy truck. Not that it was a bad truck. He won races. But I think that over time, having the other information is going to help him. He's going to be able to watch the videos and see how the other trucks that are built exactly like his perform.
How good are the Herbst trucks? To me, I watch them, and the Serapis kid
Brett's
kicks
gotten
ass.
Second a couple times, hasn't he?
He's
big
fast
races
in
too.
that. It's kind of amazing that the guys that own them aren't as fast as the customers.
And the Serapises are not racing this one, so this is the Herps in themselves in the 91.
I think.
Why isn't Brett racing?
I don't know why Brett's not racing. Christian had something with school or something, I believe, so he's not racing the 91 this race.
Oh, so the cows are safe?
The cows are safe in Mexico for now. Maybe.
Now, what do you guys think? I know this is a little bit off, but what about mixing the legends in with the real guys?
I think they got to go behind.
They got to go behind.
I think they go behind.
Yeah.
The reason why they're racing legend is to get out of this.
Right.
Yeah.
Why are they?
If Larry Rossler qualifies a truck and he's starting it in legends and he qualifies top 5, fine.
Yeah.
Larry Rossler, yes. But
No. You can't play favorites.
I'm saying if it's qualifying,
regular qualifying. Yeah.
mix them in because they mix in at
They earn
pace.
it.
The problem here is
Right.
that you have guys that are way off the pace that are mixed in with guys that are going super fast. And I think I didn't even know
Especially
this.
Bueller is in his trophy truck spec truck,
That's not a good place to be.
and he's starting 7th.
San Felipe is not a good place for a lighter weight truck, a shorter wheelbase, a narrower truck. This is a race
And people
course
in the way.
for a planted. This is a Geyser Brother race course.
Yes.
I mean, this is for a planted vehicle that smashes through the bumps
Yep.
and loves it.
So
This is-
speaking of Geyser, I heard a rumor. I don't maybe know if it's confirmed or not, but Robbie Gordon is racing the Potts Geyser. So,
I have not heard
instead
any
of
of
his
that.
own truck. I heard that. It's not confirmed, but if so, you just said it's a Geyser course. Robbie is in the middle. He's starting 14th. He's actually kind of towards the front. That
I
could
can't
be
believe
somebody
he
to
would
watch.
do that because he would never admit that the geysers are better than him.
Well, he drove
wanted them
RPM.
for
I know he did. I know, but he would always say, I could have went faster in my truck. Of course.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not, but I did hear that.
I think that Robbie's truck's incredible, and I think it's incredibly fast. But I think in a course like this in San Felipe, he would be faster in a bigger, heavier truck that has.
Well, it only has single shocks, and I think they get overheated. And I think that's the main problem with his truck. Is that
Robbie
the shocks
and
get
Robbie's
overheated.
truck on the crossover road, whoa.
Yes.
Robbie and Robbie's truck in the big bumps, not as well.
Right.
Not disrespecting Robbie. He's built the truck that he thinks has advantage in Baja where he races. This particular course is not a great truck not a great course in my opinion for Rob's personal truck. It's
might
not
be
a
in the
horrible
Geyser.
truck.
And now he's starting 13th.
Good qualifying.
Well, he's really 14th, but I know that 14th's not racing, so I'm going to move him up one spot. So Robbie's starting 14th. He's going to be right there with
He's
Andy.
going to be up there. And look who's right behind him. You got Dan McMillan, who's, he's always running up
Consistent,
front.
very good.
One of the most consistent trophy truck drivers there is, probably. So,
I
one of
will
these
pick
races he's
him
going to
for
get there.
he will get 4th place. And
Fourth,
I put
wow,
good odds on that.
that's a good pick
It's
there.
a huge stretch for.
I'm sure he likes hearing that. Yeah.
Sorry, Dan.
So speaking of
I'm
other big names,
picking on Dan because he was supposed to be here, so we could pick on him personally, but
didn't
he's
show up.
He's on vacation in Hawaii or something.
So what about BJ? What do you guys think about BJ? He's in the middle. He's back
19th. You didn't give him very good odds, and
I gave him
did
10-1 because he hasn't, lately he's just, I don't know what happened lately. Maybe he's not into it as much, or the truck is not. I know they're building a new truck.
No, I heard that he's going to be transmitting via Instagram the entire time. He's going to be sending out posts,
and
that's
cool.
really going to put him over the top at this race.
Yeah.
So
he was 10-1. I kept him at 10-1 with the draw. I think where he is, that's about odds for that spot. It's hard to win from back there with these guys up front. If they have a perfect run, you're not going to.
It's also a longer race, so it is going to be different. I mean, yes, there's a lot of whoops.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we have technical sections, especially going through Matomi near the end. And then also up front, mile 80, 90 over there, there's some technical stuff coming back.
Well, I think too that what comes into play is pit stops come into play because of all the sand, the uphill sections.
So what, you need one pit or no? You think anybody's going to go no pits?
Can you do it on one pit?
Or none?
We're not sure yet. We're going testing.
No pits?
This
Big
truck,
fuel cell,
this truck,
the right mileage.
This truck,
the tires,
the traditional 14 truck can do it without stopping. But I think that our newer truck will have to stop.
We just got confirmation Robbie Gordon is in the Potts truck.
He's in the Potts truck. Then what's Cole Potts driving?
The other one.
The other one.
Is Cole in here?
Don't they have one better?
Yeah,
Cole Potts has got a horrible starting spot.
He's all the way in the
back.
back.
He's a wild card. That kid goes really fast.
He goes really fast.
He goes really fast.
He doesn't always keep it on the rubber side down.
Getting him to the finish line is part of racing, though. So I think that Cole has that speed. He has the reaction time. I think he has the equipment. I just think it's going to take a little bit more time for him to understand that he's got to get him to the finish line. He's got to back it down a little bit to get it there. And we've all been through that. All of us have lived.
Now, do they have two equal trucks, or one's better than the other one?
I don't know.
Two different trucks.
They're different.
They have three different trucks.
And they have a racer truck too, don't they?
Yeah, they've got the.
Yeah, but they don't race the Razor one. The Racer one? Mm-hmm. Who's driving that? Is that the one Cole's driving?
That's what Cole's usually driving. Yeah.
And I thought they had an old Geyser and a newer one. I don't know. I don't know what they have.
We usually race one of the Geysers.
They're fast. How about that?
But Robbie's going to be driving one of those.
Robbie's driving the Potts Geyser is what I would assume, the Geyser one.
Makes him a huge podium threat. Not that, again, I'm not disrespecting Rob's truck. I'm saying in this particular situation, I agree.
He knows that. Obviously, that's why he would be doing it.
So here's the question for you, Pete. If we need tag numbers now, does a tag number from this race go to the next race? Not just the driver. So now if Robbie Gordon's racing the Potts Geyser truck, is that the truck with Robbie Gordon
that has to start
the Baja 500? Because that's a whole other animal.
I would think the way it's set up, no. The driver will have the driver of record that wins the race will be starting first in whatever the hell he wants.
So here's my point to that. You just made trophy truck racing another $500,000 more expensive because
different trucks for different races.
You need a specialty trucks for every race. Yeah. So if Robbie Gordon can race a Geyser at San Felipe and then race a 4-wheel drive whatever. At the 500, I don't think that's fair. I think it should be the truck and the driver together.
Well, nobody ever thinks.
But you have two trucks. You can make them totally different.
I can make them totally different.
People only want the rules to be whatever benefits them.
Right. And in this case,
so
I would prefer let them race anything because we can do the same thing.
Right.
Right? So technically speaking, if we had some kind of failure in one truck, we can just show up in the other truck.
And I think you can do that. I think it's
it'll be interesting to see if Score after this little this exercise they've gone through now with people entering multiple vehicles for start position. I'm wondering if that will ramp into something different at the bottom.
Well, what if you have the tag number and you go testing and you blow the motor up 2 days before the race? Now what? You can't race because you have to use that truck, or can you use a different truck? If you made it so that the tag number had to be the truck.
No, you just have to start in the back if you switch trucks.
There you go. Kind of like NASCAR.
If you had to put your tag number into your entry.
Yes.
Yeah. Right? So that's a whole nother question.
My question is, why didn't we just have qualifying at San Felipe?
I don't know.
My brother said he watched it last year online. They said it was awesome.
15 entries.
The best thing about last year was one of the only qualifying sessions.
Hell yeah, you would. You're way down here. What?
Last year at San Felipe was one of the very few times that we fully went for it. A lot of times at qualifying, we just kind of shoot for the top 10 because we don't want to damage our truck, which we have done in the past. So that time we were like, we're going. I was mad at Cody actually, so we went and we got second in qualifying. Rob beat us, but I think that qualifying should be a part of desert racing. I know it's tough. I know it's hard to lock down a section or an area. It's more money.
Here's
the solution.
Safer.
Here's the solution.
Oh, here we go.
Safer. $1,000 entry for every vehicle that wants to qualify. Put 1/3 of it towards the community, 1/3 of it towards Scores cost or Best of Desert, and 1/3 of it to purse. And pay
just for qualifying purse?
Yep.
So if you win qualifying, you win that.
Break it down to the guys that should be qualifying are getting the money back. And what that'll do is it'll also weed out the guys, because one of the problems with the Best in Desert qualifying is you have 90 guys showing up, right? and no disrespect to anybody, but the guy that's brand new that just got there doesn't need to rush out to qualify amongst this whole group and try to wreck his car the day before the race.
Like what just happened at the Mint.
Whatever. So it might weed some of those guys out. I'm not saying that anybody doesn't deserve the chance to qualify. I'm just saying that maybe people that don't think they should qualify wouldn't if there was a price tag on it.
If you had to pay.
I had this conversation with Casey before he passed away. He said he didn't want to be rude to his racers. I said, it's not rude. You're providing a service for us to qualify. This came up when we had to qualify Gene on the private property on the flat thing, and he was all mad at a few of us because we went one little deviation or whatever. And I tried to explain to him.
Wait, you straightened something out?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh.
I saw other guys do it. I'm like, I'm doing that.
All right.
But I told him, charge for qualifying. You're not going to hurt anybody's feelings.
I don't think you'd have a problem with anyone paying for it, though. I mean,
if you're racing a trophy truck,
we race on a budget. We
Like,
race on a budget, and I'm here to tell you, if they put a $500, $750, or $1,000 cost on qualifying, we would pay it because it's going to add safety workers. It's going to give us better qualifying sections. They're going to be able to work with the BLM more. There might be a purse for us. And like I said, let's do a third of it or a quarter of it as a give back to whatever community we're in that can help kids or homeless people, whatever it is. Make it so it benefits the community, so the community is also stoked for us to be there.
Because you have all these great ideas, everybody wants you to take over, score, or best of desert. And they always ask me that. Why doesn't Cameron do it? Because he doesn't like the work.
he wants to
him.
race.
He's
He wants
wearing
to race.
flip-flops today.
He's
And he's
going
ready
down
to
to
go down
Baja.
to Baja.
As soon
He
as we're
doesn't
done,
want
he's
work.
out of here. He's going to
I've
Baja.
been professionally unemployed for 30 years.
I know, and it's awesome. I know, but we need somebody. No offense to the guys running Best of the Desert or to Roger, but we need somebody with the vision to make it happen. I don't know why aren't we qualifying at San Felipe? We did it last year. It seemed simple.
Trophy Truck Specs qualified for the first time even last year.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and it was awesome.
And it was rad.
And it was
even in that
and
tiny
they
little
televised it.
spot.
How would they not be able to get a sponsor for that broadcast? My brother said it was awesome. They had the drones flying over, and it was really cool.
I think the one thing that qualifying does, I personally believe it makes it safer to keep all the same speed cars all the way
course it
down the
does.
line.
It makes it a better race. It makes it a better race,
Yes, it
too,
does.
because you're not stuck in the back
I mean, if you
by
just
a
look,
random draw.
back here, and I mean, you can see a couple really fast guys. Those guys are going to be looking around the dust and the car in front of them, trying to find a way around.
Yeah.
And that creates a more dangerous situation, in my opinion. I think fast cars together makes it, like, look at the Baja 500 last year, right? No one's complaining. Everybody hauled ass in their group, right? Yep. If you were in the first third, the middle third, or the last third, there's no one that really complained about, oh, I got this, I got bottleneck, it's exponentially, the experience falls back, and I think it makes it for better racing, safer racing. Plus, I think that keeping those groupings together makes it smarter for the way all the chase trucks move, everybody moves. I think it's just smarter all the way around. That's my opinion.
What do you think if Score said today, we made a mistake here, we're going to put the Trophy Truck L guys at the end?
I think that's fine. I don't think anybody's going to care, really, because
I
look
don't
who's
think
left
they-
in the L's. They're not going to.
I don't think they would either. They're in a different race.
Yeah,
think
which maybe that'll happen by
And
start date.
who in the L's is trying to win overall? Is there?
I don't
Larry
think
Ross
there was
was
any.
No, he's
Larry
not in
Ross-
the
oh,
L.
Larry Ross was regular.
Oh, he's
not
regular.
on.
Oh,
He was
okay.
L before, but
he was
he's
L
not.
before, but
Yeah.
Two truck.
Yeah. So I don't know. Well, one driver we
Larry
didn't really
Ross is
talk
not
about.
racing.
Oh,
The truck's not racing.
There we go, just in. All right.
there you go, just in.
Well, that's why he's not
Peanut
on
gallery
there.
here at Baja HQ.
Yeah. The one guy we didn't talk about yet, Andy McMillan. He won his last race out in
Dude's
brand
bad.
new truck.
Dude's
Qualified first, brand new truck. He starts 11th this race. I had him at 3.1. I moved him up a little bit. What do you think? What do you think, Pete?
I like Andy. Andy's, like they say, the GOAT, possibly the greatest of all time. And we've got a lot of really great drivers in trophy trucks and in our sport. But Andy's one of the best, and he's starting 11th. So he's right up there. How about Ricky Johnson?
And that's in the other Mason. That's a four-wheel drive truck.
I know. They said they've abandoned their two-wheel drive efforts, and they're going to put it all into their four-wheel drive.
Yep, they have a pre-runner. It's the same as the race truck. So he's pre-running, and he's racing in exactly the same thing.
But obviously, you never pre-run at the speed you race in, so they never know if the four-wheel drive's going to make it.
In my opinion, until the four-wheel drive's proven out a little bit more, especially in the big bumps, I think it's a little bit more of a risk for those guys. Baja 500, depending on where it goes, I think a better course for it. I think pounding 3-foot whoops for 280 miles
with 4-wheel drive
is going to be a lot of work for those.
You know,
guys.
Justin Matney has done really good in the 4-wheel drive, but
he got a bad draw though.
He does not. He does not. To me, Justin, I think he's a really good driver, but he is not on the level of the guys that are wide open, full stick the whole time.
But
I think his 4-wheel drive lasts longer than some of the other ones.
He's been there to win the races.
So one other guy driving one of your guys' trucks, Josh Daniel. So which truck is he driving of your guys'?
He's going to drive Richie Armstrong's.
Okay, so he's starting. Where is he at?
I think it was like 16th or.
Is he up towards the top?
Yeah, he's 16th.
Yeah.
Okay, so
actually 15th.
So is Josh driving the whole race?
Josh is driving the whole race.
All right, so that's a guy right there that's a sleeper pick, maybe, or even higher than a sleeper pick. If Josh has a good day, he's going to be right up there. He's fast.
Now, drivers that aren't here, I mean, this is like the cream of the crop of trophy trucks, but we don't have Jason Voss.
Tavo.
We don't have Tavo driving.
Yeah.
Gustavo.
That's crazy.
Dad's
Tavo
driving.
has to work.
Is he driving the good Tavo truck?
I don't know. I would assume maybe he is, huh?
Do they still have the other geyser? Do they still have their geyser?
I think they still have that truck.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Yeah. I think they have a little something up their sleeve coming out later this year, maybe next year too. We'll see.
That will not surprise me.
When I went through the starting list, I kind of identified 20 teams that have a realistic shot to be in the top 5. And then breaking it down, there's probably 11 or 12 teams that really have a strong shot at being on the podium and winning this race, in my opinion, which means there's a lot of talent in this group. And, of course, you discount a little bit for new trucks. You got bad odds. You got guys that maybe don't have the big team or don't have the big effort, haven't been in the trophy truck class a long time. I think that's a strike against them. But bottom line is, if you have 12 or 15 trucks that can win this race or can run on that podium pace, it's amazing to see where our sport is right now. Obviously, the economy is really good.
We just got to update. Andy just said Pete is, thanks Pete, that RJ's in 2-wheel drive Mason. Okay. So he's not racing 4-wheel drive.
So that makes a big difference to me.
What Cameron just said, they didn't want, they have better advantage on this course than the 2-wheel drive maybe. So he's running 2-wheel drive.
I think it's a much smarter decision, and that goes back to the fact is, can he qualify? So let's break it down. This is qualifying for the Baja 500, right? So now can you switch to the 4-wheel drive for the 500?
According to, there's no rules. Basically, we've had multiple entries.
Multiple rule breakers.
Multiple rule breakers. So I don't think there is any rules. Those are a couple guys that are going to be on your heels.
All right. Well,
for the win.
In closing, why don't we pick top 3? You have to pick your top 3 over there, Pete. Who do you think is going to be top 3?
Top 3 at this race will be
in any order or the order you can.
I'm going to go top 5. I'm just telling you.
Okay.
Top 5. You can
do top 5.
I'll do top 5.
All right. So who are you going with?
I'm taking Cameron, Justin Bean Smith in the
Bryce truck.
Well sorted out Bryce truck with the ride of his life. Anybody would love to have that. I'll take Andy McMillan, Rob Mack, and the other Cameron Steele. No, I'm kidding. And I'm taking Ricky Johnson.
There you go.
From the 9th spot. Those are the top 5 trucks to finish the race.
The top 5 for me, in no particular order, looking at this, looks like to me the 16, the 70, which is Bryce's truck with Bean in it. I think Abdali Lopez has to be considered no matter where he starts for a top 5. I think that Rob Mack is a huge player in this thing. Andy, of course. And then it's hard not to count Robbie in there if he's driving the bigger, heavier truck for this race. That's 6, but those are the guys that I really think, based on starting position, amount of time they've been driving. Like Abdali's been racing all year. He's proven that he can kick ass from any position. And
I agree.
Andy coming off those wins, those are guys that I'm really looking at as focused team, with no disrespect for anybody else.
I just think Abdali's starting that far back, and as hard as he pushes,
there's a lot of risk for him.
He's gonna flatten tires and just flatten in 2 tires where Cameron out there dust free, not hitting any rocks.
2 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago, I would have said the same thing, that I thought that Abdali took too many chances, was more of a reckless go fast.
Right.
Dude's got 2 championships. He's proven it. He won the Baja 1000. No matter what you want to say about his driving style, he has proven that he can get to the finish line. And so I agree with you that there's a lot more risk coming from the back, but a guy that races for championships knows how to get there in the top 5 without taking the front of that truck off.
No, he's been amazing. I heard that story about the Baja 1000 when he was in the fog in the middle of the night. He drove for like 200 miles with the visor open
That's gnarly.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, his eyes. I didn't even see.
Yeah, sure can.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? That's how tough Abdali Lopez is.
Well, one thing for sure, this race is definitely going to come down to probably like a minute or two. With this many entries, that short of a race, I mean, 300 miles is still
And
short,
you know who we haven't talked about either is Billy Wilson. He's got second here last year and first the year before.
You're right.
So, I mean, he's got
Are you going to move him into your top
spot.
5? You're going to move him in the top 5?
No, just because of the bad start. You're so far back.
See,
and I know what it's like.
Yeah.
And you got these super fast guys in the premium spots.
Yep.
People don't realize what an advantage that is.
So Cameron,
I think Billy's
don't mess it up.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, no
you got,
pressure.
You know, no pressure.
No
you got first starting spot. You almost won last year, right? I mean, you know what it takes to get there. Like, just go. It's easy. She's ready to go.
She's right there, ready to go. So, what's your top 5 fish?
All right.
Or wait, before you pick, let's get the Brenthel.
All right,
you
get
got
them in. I'll look
anything
at mine real
differentiate from us?
That's all Jordan. Let him go for it.
Cameron, you obviously have a huge advantage. I mean, starting up front, keep it going. You're smart enough to know your base.
Don't poop myself.
Yeah.
That's one.
Andy, obviously, I mean, proven track record. You can't really go wrong there. And I might be a little biased, but Josh Daniel.
Josh Daniel. Oh, and
I mean, come on.
And that's number 20. You got to pick yourself. Number 27. You get one more.
We still got to get that truck done.
Yeah, I'm going with top 3.
Just going
Still got to get that truck done.
Podium
Don't
picks.
pick the 27 in the top 5 because he's still got to get
Yeah,
it
no,
done.
that's my pick, and yeah, I really do think that's a pretty strong effort there. I mean,
Right on. Well, Josh is an awesome driver. He was my teammate for a
That's
couple
it.
years. I have a lot of respect for him, and he definitely knows
Yep.
how to get it to the finish line.
Yeah.
He does
All right.
have a heavy right foot, though.
I'll do mine,
Yeah.
and then you can get going to Baja.
Yeah, and that's going pre-running right after this.
All right. Well, see, first I got to take you. You know, not just because you're sitting here. If you weren't first off the line, I wasn't going to put you in the first spot necessarily. But you're first off the line, so honestly, I think
And we
it's
proved that we
yours
can
to
go
do.
kind of fast
Yeah,
last year.
you can go fast, and you have clean air. So that's one. So 2 is going to be Bean. I think he's the same reason. He's up front. He's fast. The truck is proven. All he's got to do is just keep it there. Just kind of pace with you most of the way. If he wants to try to push with you, he can. If he knows where the guys are behind him, just keep it there. I think he'll be top 5. Andy, of course, obviously. Andy will probably win the race or get top 3, top 2. Who knows? He's going to be up there. Like, that's an easy pick.
One thing about Andy, he told me like a month ago that he was just going to drive around for the starting position at the 500, which kind of disappoints me. I like people that go for it and want to win. That's what inspires me.
Yeah, but that's easy to
as
say
a
until you
fan.
get in the truck. As soon as the green flag
Is that
drops,
true? Is he
bullshit.
gonna do that?
No, he's going full kill.
I hope so. That's what I want.
So then the other 2, Robbie Gordon, since he's in a geyser, I got to put him up there. He's got a good starting spot. He's in a geyser. He's going to be fast. Last time he was in a geyser, I think he won every single race he drove it in. So, I mean, how can you pick against him? And then the last one is, it's between 2 of them, really. But I think Dan McMillan is consistent enough to
Over
get up
Rob
there.
Mack?
I don't know. I think Rob Mack, he had a crash last race. I'm dropping him down a little bit. I think it might have it's hard to come right back after. Look at Jason Voss. Jason Voss won every single race just about. He crashes and then he comes back and he wasn't on the same pace as he was before.
When we crashed in practice for qualifying at the Mint, it rattled me so hard going through those big square edges for like a year and a half.
That's what I'm saying.
I was like, whoa, pucker.
Hey, Rob Mack has
It's
won
not just
many
me that I
times.
feel a little bit different about racing after last year's Parker crash.
No,
my truck.
I think it affects
My son's
everybody.
like, Dad, we need to go faster. And I'm like, no, this is good. This is a good speed.
Yeah.
Dad, let's
So
go
that's
faster.
why I'm
win
dropping
if you
Rob
don't
Mack
finish.
down. But he's Rob Mack and he'll probably go out there and prove me wrong, I'm sure anyways. But that's why.
You know
So
what
those are my
might
top picks.
you know what might get Rob Mack is the bad karma from doing the slippery entry.
Uh-oh.
Bad karma could come to that number 11. Sorry, Rob, I gotta tell it like it is.
It's calling it out.
I'm not wishing it on you, but
Well, thanks for coming all the way out here, Pete. You came all the way
Oh,
out
you
here
bet.
just to do this. That was
is
really
fun.
cool. Thanks for you guys
Thanks for the
going,
pre-run report.
giving us some
I'm going down
info.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Cameron,
Yeah,
Baja
thanks.
HQ. Where can everyone find out more about the
Yeah,
Baja
Baja
HQ?
HQ. You can check
And
it out.
now you're going to work
Facebook.
on other people's trucks
Yep.
here, not just your own.
We're not doing race vehicles. We're going to do, upgrades like upfitter kits, shocks, maybe Brenthel parts, maybe some of the other guys.
So it's going to be like an
Tires,
off-road
wheels.
shop to have everything installed.
Bring your Raptor, your Jeep, your van down, whatever, your Tundra, and we'll build it for you right here at Baja
Wow.
HQ.
Very cool.
And maybe share a little bit of the Baja Stoke. That's our tag, sharing the Stoke.
Right
Sweet.
on. All right. Well, we will be down covering the race. Cameron's going to be down there. I think he's going to try to go live a couple times during the contingency or whatever before the race. We got guys that'll be down there, so we'll be doing our hourly updates on the site. You guys just log on to FishGistics on Facebook during the race, and we'll have coverage for you. And we'll keep these things going. If you guys enjoyed this, maybe we'll do them before the Baja 500 if you guys thought it was cool.
And remember, every share gets me $20 from Fish. So
there you go. Start sharing away.
And hey,
Pete doesn't get any, though.
And if you guys don't like who we picked, go down to San Felipe and kick some ass and just rub it in our face.
And if you don't like my odds, it's too bad. Sorry, you should do better. So, all right. Thanks again for everybody for watching. See you guys.